Okay, so you've had a lot of experience with CSNAT, not only teaching it in the training courses, but also using it in practice. What would you say are your kind of take-home messages about using it in practice?
I think certainly my first take-home message would be that this is a real opportunity to allow and open up a conversation for the carer to identify what truly matters to them. Before CSNAT intervention, I would automatically go into fix mode and listen to the carer and think I knew what mattered, and would automatically put in some suggestions because I think that I had heard what they needed. But what I learned by using the CSNAT intervention is actually the carer could come up with something that I hadn't got a clue about, something quite simple maybe, but actually that's what really mattered to them. And yet as a professional, I was always looking for the more complicated thing.
Well, that's really interesting to hear you say that it's often a simple thing that can make a difference in your experience.
Yeah, definitely. So I would never discourage anybody from giving it a try and from introducing it, because we give great pride about how we have a holistic approach for our patient care, and that obviously includes the family. But the carer's needs can be very different to what the patient's needs are. So it's so important that they have an opportunity to have a thorough assessment as well. And what I love as well about the CSNAT is that it isn't onerous, and it can be left with the person to look at and then come back and pick the conversation up. But equally, if you have got time, you can stay with them while they complete it and talk through the conversation there and then. You don't have to make it elongated and clunky.
Yeah, so flexibility there in terms of what's happening with the carer, but also your time frame as well, because time is a big issue, isn't it?
It is, and I will sometimes have left it and then picked up the conversation later. Other times it's appropriate to have the conversation there and then, but I let them drive what matters. It's not about me all the time. If they did, I suppose what I'm thinking here is a practitioner might say, well, you leave it with them and they want the conversation, but you've got another so many visits to do. And I would then say to the carer, what you want to talk to me about is really important. But today I do have some other people expecting me. So can we make another appointment and a time for me to either talk to you over the phone or come back and visit? Because you're not going to give the best of yourself if you're thinking about all those other visits you've got to get to. Yeah. And the last thing that carer needs is to feel rushed. You've got the open door to have an important conversation, then make the time that matters to both of you. You've got just as much, not right, that's not the word I'm looking for. You've got just as much to say that actually I've got other commitments, but that doesn't mean you're saying to them they're not important. You're just asking to arrange to hear that at a different time.
And Kate, what would you say the benefits are for practitioners of using the CSNAT intervention?
Oh, I can answer this one really easily. So with some carer assessment tools that are available, it feels as if you have to go through everything. What I really love about the CSNAT intervention is that actually you don't have to go through everything, because if that carer has identified they don't need support in certain areas, why are you wasting time having a conversation about things they don't want support with? Use your valuable time and theirs to focus on the things that really, really matter. And that, for me, just means that I haven't wasted time trying to go through a whole maybe checklist in my head of things that I think carers might want to know about, because actually they have given, with the CSNAT intervention, it gives them the broadest range possible of things to try and open up what they may want support with, but then you can just focus on what actually does matter to them.
And what about carers themselves? Have you had the opportunity to find out what carers themselves see as the benefit of CSNAT?
I have had experience of carers, they can't believe sometimes that they matter, and that somebody wants to listen to them. I think when people are going through the process of being diagnosed with an illness, they're going back and forth from hospital, a lot of the time the focus is very much on the patient, and the carer gets a little bit lost and forgotten in that. So they're sometimes quite surprised or shocked that somebody truly wants to hear or listen to what matters to them. But in my area of work, if we don't work with both the patient and the carer together, then the outcomes that we're hoping to achieve may not happen. So it gives you that opportunity to work right at the beginning on helping everybody achieve the outcomes that matter to both, not just the patient, but to the carer as well. So by using the CSNAT intervention, it actually gives the carer permission to ask for help, which previous to that they may have struggled to do.